Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chewed Gum. This is a show about rejecting purity culture, challenging misogyny, and the effects of religious trauma on women. Today is July 14th, and if you would like to call, you can use the web link in the description if you are international. And you can call, or you can call... Guys, I'm really tired. Or you can call 720-619-2288 and you can chat with us there. I am Alyssa. Hello.
And I'm Taylor. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah, you're tired.
I was telling Lux and Taylor that I spent the weekend with one of those people who just like does the backhanded compliments all the time. And it was so jarring to be around.
I feel like the worst part about that is when, like, if you ever do say something, they always have, like, this weird plausible deniability of they were either joking or, like, you misunderstood them, so it becomes, like, really frustrating to even say anything about it. Yeah, that's stuff is...
She's also incredibly self-righteous, so she would make it into a thing where, like, not only did I misunderstand, I'm an idiot for misunderstanding, and that's my fault. And it's just...
I'm so glad you're away from her.
Oh my God, me too. It was so stressful. It was just, I don't even know, like making comments about everything. What I ate, what was on my skin, what my husband looks like. And like, it was just, you know, oh, you would have chihuahuas, like just everything, like anything and everything.
What is that supposed to mean? Like,
I don't know. I literally don't know. I don't know. It was very weird. And I really, I was gaslit all fucking weekend. I'm looking at our chat. It was so ridiculous.
It is sometimes gaslighting because for me, I'll start like questioning myself. I'm like, is something wrong with me? Like, why are they doing this?
Well, you know what? I'm really happy that I've reached a point, and this is like, I think I really attribute this to meeting a person like this in my 30s, because if this happened in my 20s, it would have been very different. In my 30s, I see a person like that, and I kind of am like, you are so wounded and this is so sad, and I cannot believe that, like, I've only ever been nice and you still feel so like activated by my presence that you have to like make comments like this all the time.
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
weird that like now I meet people like that and my instinct is to be as nice as I possibly can to them because I'm like, you need this more than I need whatever the fuck you're doing. This is so
Yeah.
crazy.
It's funny you say that because the one person I have to be around sometimes who does that, I am like told by people who are close to them that they are like genuinely so miserable. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, yeah. Yeah. It's like,
Right.
yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense. Like, the
Yeah.
whole hurt people thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels very much like that. So, you know, that was what I was dealing with. And it's also a weird thing because when people are like that, it's hard to tell when it's worth telling them.
Right.
Like, how often do you say, "Hey, that was fucking rude," or do you
Right.
just like at a certain point, it's like this is if it's going to be an uphill battle every single day, then
Or
it's no peace.
I've gotten the thing of like you finally address it once and it's like, oh my God, being around you is like walking on eggshells. Like I can't say
Yeah,
anything. It's like
yeah,
I'm gonna kill all of you right now.
yeah.
Like it's so maddening. And then for me specifically, I think it makes me a worse version of myself because I'm like, I don't know,
Hmm.
it just messes with your head, it messes with your psyche. So I totally understand
Yeah.
what you mean.
I I'm happy that it mostly just made me like it didn't make me insecure, it mostly just made me like annoyed and I was just like on edge
Mhm.
all the time. And this is not a person that like I was hanging out with really by choice. She is like a relative of a relative and like needed, a place to stay and whatever. So there were other circumstances for why we were together that were not by choice. And so I would
Right.
not be hanging out with her by choice because
That
she's
is
so fucking rude.
That's nice though, that it's not someone like
Yeah.
you have to see very often.
Oh my God. You know, another thing that she kept doing that was like so crazy. We would be in the car, and I guess, like, I don't know, she had some vendetta against having the AC in the car, and she always wanted like fresh air. Like, she wanted to like open the windows. But we'd be like on the highway, and she would just roll down
Oh,
her
hell
window.
no. Hell
So
no.
my my husband was like, it sounded like fucking Vietnam in the car every single day because it was like
Yeah, it's an awful sound. It is terrible. I hate
crazy
it.
sound. Crazy sound. Just so like
Like
yeah.
everybody has to have the windows down. Like you're either forcing
Yeah.
everybody to put the windows down or yours is down and it sounds awful. But
It
even when
sounds awful.
everybody's
So
is
loud.
down, it's very intense, like on the
Yeah.
highway.
So then he would put his window down and she'd be like, "Oh, you don't need to do that. I'll just put my window up." And it's like, "Well, no, because
So, like, where do you think the options were here then? Like, I
exactly.
don't.
So crazy." She also got mad that I don't play music in the car all the time because she doesn't shut the fuck up. So I was so like overstimulated. And so I would get into the car and I knew she was going to talk to me the whole time. So the last thing I need is like some country song that I've never heard before in the background quietly,
Right.
while this person is telling me about, I don't know, that my skin is dry. So like, I don't know. I was like, I don't really need that. But then we got in the car and it was like the morning too. And we went to go get coffee. That was another thing too. She actually doesn't like coffee. She only likes matcha. And I said something in the morning. I was like, "Yeah, I know." We were talking about how we were tired. I said, "Yeah, I haven't even had my coffee yet." She was like, "Well, I don't like drink coffee in the morning." Okay, you can go fuck yourself. Oh
It's
my
like, okay,
God.
and I do. Like, what's
Oh,
the issue?
so
That's
crazy.
crazy.
So we get in the car. I'm raw dogging life at this point. I have had no pharmaceutical. I have had no caffeine in my body. And she gets in the car and immediately like hits the radio and turns it on. She's like, "Oh, thank God." She's like, it's like, "You're such a freak. You don't listen to any music in the car." I was like,
And like, also, like, why talk? Like, you're also talking to someone like that you don't know super well. Like, why are you
"Yeah,
talking to people like that? Not that you should,
why?"
like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's weird. Like, not that you should talk to anybody like that, but that's super weird
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, yeah. So that was I feel traumatized by this woman. Oh my God.
No, literally.
Anyways,
You need to
yeah,
like take yourself to a facial or something.
I know. We've been
Massage.
saying we need to go. I can't wait to go back to my Thai ladies in LA that do the massages because
Oh.
they're amazing. Have you ever gotten a Thai massage before?
Um, I think it was a Thai massage. I was literally in Thailand, but it was like a really, I don't know, our traditional Thai massages like really rough because the one I got was like pretty rough.
Yes.
Okay, then
They're
yes.
it's always like the smallest middle-aged cute woman
Yes,
who comes into the room.
yes.
And
And they were brutal. They were brutal. It's funny because my two friends right away wanted to go back. I did not want to go back. It was too much
oh,
for me. The next day I was so sore.
yeah,
So
no,
freaking sore.
they'll beat the shit out of you. I have
Yeah.
a very like I have my back is always really knotted, so I like the Thai massage.
Mhm.
But recently, for the first time, one of the ladies like walked on my back, which is not uncommon,
Yeah.
but it was the first time that anyone had ever done that, like in to me. And I literally was laying on the table and I was going, how much pressure would it take to break a rib cage, do we think? How much? And I was literally like,
Right.
I was
No,
like,
they dead ass when I went into the one, they I don't know, cracked my neck or whatever. I did not
mm-hmm,
like that. I didn't like that because I don't even
freaks me out.
like I wouldn't even let like a chiropractor do that because like people yeah, people be messing up all the time. So I didn't like that. And then they've done weird like not weird, but things I was not expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting anything. I didn't know what was happening. And they did this thing where they were like it's hard to explain, but like I was laying like face down and they
Mm-hmm.
took their feet to my back and then took my arm.
Donkey kick you.
Yes.
Yes, bitch. Oh
I
my
I was
God.
shook because I didn't know what to think. And I was like, guys, I'm being assaulted over here. No,
It
not
is,
really.
that is the funniest thing to me because every time they've done that, I just can imagine this woman is going, and now I'm gonna kick her fucking ass,
Yeah,
literally.
literally. Now I'm gonna beat this bitch up.
Yes, the first time that they had ever done that, it's been like every time I've gone, there's been like slight variations. And the first time they did that, I went with my husband, and so we're first of all, my husband who stands like a question mark. He has the worst posture I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Good question mark. That's fucking
Dead ass.
hilarious.
That is what his. It's so crazy. So I'm thinking that like they are looking at his back and they're just going, oof, I can't wait to turn that shit inside out. And they did the thing where they're holding him and they just kicked the fuck out of him. He
Oh my
literally
God.
was like 2 inches taller that day.
No
It was
longer a
so
question
crazy.
mark. That is so fucking funny. I love that.
Ah,
I will be using that in the future because that's the funniest shit I've ever heard.
you
Question
can use it
mark.
anytime. Anytime. Oh my God. Yeah. So we do have some callers that are in here right now. Have you had the chance to take a look at?
Yeah.
So it's very
Um,
interesting. Um,
yeah.
I think that we could take the second one first for the sake of just a new conversation, perhaps.
Yeah.
And we can start there. But before we do, as a reminder, super chats of $5 or more we read at the end of the show. And what was the other thing I say in the beginning? I think that's mostly it
I think
in
you
the
got
very
it.
beginning. And I already can predict that by the end of this show, I will not be able to read. So when I become illiterate, just
That's me on a normal day, so.
everyone be chill about it. Okay. Um, all right. So let's start taking some calls. Um, Everyone's talking about chiropractors in the chat, which is so funny. I know I've
Yeah,
gotten
that's
I've gotten an ear full about chiropractors before. Don't worry.
me too. And I didn't even really know much of like I don't know. I don't know what I thought, but my husband was the one who told me like I guess more the critical side of it, and I was like, well, that makes sense. And then I have a nurse friend who was like, never let them like crack your neck. And I
Yeah.
was like, I believe you. I'm not ever doing that. Not that I ever
I
went to them before, but
Yeah, I've never been to one, and I am scared. My dad like swears by his chiropractor, and I
so
sort
do
of
the
am like,
people in my family, like
yes, you know
mostly
what?
older.
If it helps him, great. I personally so scared, and I like the chiropractor ASMR though. I
Oh
love
my
that.
gosh, it's so funny you say that because that's my one of my guilty pleasures where I'm like, I would never
Yeah,
go to one, but I have some saved. Yeah,
yeah,
for ASMR purposes.
I love them. Which I learned later for ASMR, they have crack noises that they put on to the video afterwards. Like
Don't
it's
tell
not
me
real
that.
crack.
No, it's
I
real. It's
know.
real. Don't tell me that.
I
I'm gonna
know.
pretend like it's real.
Okay, I never said that. I actually I think that's a lie. That's a lie and it's made up. Anyways. Okay, I'm going to pull in Chris, who is calling from Poland. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi, how's it
Chris.
going?
Chilling at 1 a.m.
Oh,
Oof, you're up
damn.
late.
Yeah, 'cause I wanted to talk to you guys about a few things, but a few
That's really nice.
just two funny things. Alyssa, you mentioned last week, like you we were going somewhere and there was this huge cross in the middle of nowhere, and
Yeah.
we in Poland have the biggest statue of Jesus in the world.
Really?
Wait, I
It's
didn't know
like,
that.
yes,
Me neither.
170 feet tall Jesus in the middle of literal nowhere. Just Google that shit because it's unbelievable.
Who
That
put
is
it
so
there?
crazy.
I don't really remember who put it there, but a part of it was probably funded with public money. So yeah, that's that. But we have the biggest
Oh,
Jesus in the world.
That's
um,
so crazy. You learn something new every day because I had no idea.
it is. It is humongous, Taylor.
It is,
Wait,
it
wait,
is,
wait, wait. I th
and
okay,
it's
so
in the middle of fucking nowhere, literally.
Oh.
And he's
oh,
like
okay.
staring at a discount grocery store.
I lied. I have seen this, like, but I had no idea where it was. I don't know where I thought it was, but it wasn't Poland in my mind. But yeah, I have seen this. Yeah, that's wild.
That is,
Yeah,
it's humongous.
It's a little scary.
I wonder how big that statue is compared to like the Statue of Liberty, like just as like a
Isn't
reference.
the Statue of Liberty like kind of small, or am I like tripping? I know it's like a
I have
statue and
no
it's
It,
idea.
well, it's kind of small when you see it from like Manhattan, but you can get when you get close to it, it's pretty big. You can
okay.
like it's a big ass statue. But I also like it's hard to. How do you get like a reference point for that? It's like I don't know. It's all just
Yeah.
ginormous. But that is so crazy. Oh
It
my God.
is.
Okay, wait. There is a chart that I found. This is so funny
For
on
statues?
yes, on Twitter. And the Statue of Liberty looks like it's about half of the size.
Mm,
This is
okay.
fucking huge. Wow.
That is huge.
Wow. Anyways, okay, Chris, what else did you want to talk about today?
The second funny thing is when dealing with fragile men, something I've heard in the German parliament, one of the MPs said to a guy, dear Mr. So and so, the clitoris has 3,000 nerve endings, and yet you are somehow more sensitive.
Yes, I love that one. I love that one.
And that
And
cracked me up. But then she
it pro-
apologized and said it was 10,000, not 3,000.
I was just gonna say it's not 3,000, it's 10,000. That is so funny. Yeah, the clitoris has 10,000 nerve endings in it, and somehow you're more sensitive. That is good. I need to remember
So
that. I need to keep that in the bank.
that was brilliant. It was chef's kiss for as for a response.
I love
Um,
it.
okay, so now to the meat. Why I'm calling.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I've been reading up on nostalgia a lot. Um, and I went down a rabbit hole of weaponized nostalgia.
Oh.
Uh, it's like, the whole thing that Hitler wrote on, that Germany used to be so powerful and now it's not, and we have to take power back, or any kind of far right rhetoric with mm, it was better in the day where men were only in charge, and things like that. So that kind of nostalgia, or like looking through a male lens at the in your case, and in the case of the USA, and at the 1950s, and idealizing this and romanticizing this mystical notion that it used to be good and now it's not. So that's kind of the thing with weaponized nostalgia, and riding on this emotional notion that it used to be good and now it's not. And so the far right, or just like right wing rhetoric or Christianity, um, many flavors, if not most, just like write on this, or use it as one of the tools that they used, a really powerful one at that, because it just hits hard into your emotions. It hits hard into your sense of current situation, and into your sense of security, and fear for the future and things like that. And I'm like, how to, maybe you have some kind of idea, because I do want to make difference. And since I'm male passing, I do want to talk to like other men, but I have no idea how. And since
I,
they are not listening to women, obviously, and women have been like talking about this for a long time, and no one seems to be listening to them, maybe they will listen. Besides, like we agree. You've mentioned that the call is coming inside from inside the house, and like it's our own backyard that we need to take care of, and men need to make other men accountable. And I want to
yeah,
engage somehow in the discussion, but I have no fucking clue how.
I feel
Like
like
how
it.
to.
I feel like it depends on a lot of things. I feel like if like the man, like especially like that happens a lot here with like white men. If they like that, like they're getting all the privileges and they're getting all the power or whatever, the world revolves around them. I'm not sure if that's what they want. I'm not sure if anything is really going to come of that or not. I do think I like what you pointed out about nostalgia, because it is such a powerful tool, because it literally is for me, but not in that way. And people always forget the issues that were prevalent back then too. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people I hear talk about, missing the way America wasn't even like an adult during that time period that they're even talking about. So, yeah, I agree that they use that, but as far as like how to get through to certain people and men, I'm not sure if they're like, I'm not sure how you do that if they do want the world to cater to them, if that makes sense. Alyssa, what do you think?
I think when men are in that conversation, my favorite thing to ask is when it's like the same thing with MAGA, where they'll say, like, make America great again. And it's like, great for who? what period of time are you talking about, and how was it great for the everyone, for the majority of people? And they reveal themselves pretty quickly in that way. But I do think it is interesting when I think about like there is a weird nostalgia factor specifically to like mid-century, like the 50s and like that sort of period of traditional family stuff. And I'm sure that it's purposeful. I just can't prove how, but I feel like someone in the chat will be able to give us more information about that. But that was a period of time where like the nuclear family was such a big part of like of the way that I don't know, culture, that was really kind of the only way. And I think about like Norman Rockwell and like that, all of those like pieces of art. It's like all of that same, like really super Americana shit. And I think that we've been raised to see that as being nostalgic. Like it's very romanticized. And then we've sort of forgotten the pieces of it where like not everyone was having a good time, as it turns out. So, anyways, all that to say, I think the way that I would approach it with people who say things like that is to ask them, who is it a better time for? And if they say everyone, you could say, well, I don't really think that that's true. Because that they're they're viewing it that for some reason the Conservative Party really latches on to the nostalgia of that period of time in particular, that was when, you know, people were pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, which I learned today. Sorry,
I know
Chris,
you're
this is
gonna
like
say.
a slight tangent. Yeah, that pull yourself up by your bootstraps was actually an ironic phrase because it's impossible to do. It's an impossible task. So they would say you're going to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, knowing what they were saying was you're going to attempt the impossible. And now we use it as a way to shame people that we think are not working hard enough. Isn't that so weird? Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, Chris.
No, I think that's funny.
That doesn't surprise me actually.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
it was the meaning completely changed. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's going to be a lot different in case of the U.S. as compared to like my own country because um okay, you've been after World War II, it was completely different for you guys when Poland was completely devastated. I mean,
Hmm.
literally, we were between Germany and Russia during World War II. So yeah, like Warsaw, the capital, was 90% like razed to the ground. And during the 50s, it was a huge effort to rebuild cities and things like that. So it looked a little bit different. And then we became a satellite state of the USSR, but that's beside the point. Um, so it is going to be a bit different in the case of like my country, but like you said, Alyssa, uh, how did you put it that they show their true face when they're asked, okay,
Yeah. You
great for who?
ask
Like,
them who, yeah, who was it good for? What was that pure? You so badly want to go back to this period of time because it benefited who exactly?
It sucks sometimes too. Sometimes there's like again, depending on who you're having these conversations with, it sucks because somebody said that to me and I asked them that same exact question, and they're also the same kind of person that denies, like straight up denies things like racism and sexism. So when they're like incomplete denial, but also I feel like that may be like a very niche kind of person. I feel like if it's a person who, you know, knows those things exist and understands it, maybe that would give them new perspective. I guess I'm thinking of kind of like the worst of the worst and like when it comes to conservatism, I guess.
I have that too, and I can't just get over it. I had the same thing Like when I hear someone is conservative or Christian, I'm like immediately like an allergic reaction, or like a cat that senses senses danger. I'm like, all my hair
I
stand on
know.
end, and I'm already like ready to. Uh, I automatically had this reaction of being ready to defend myself or my views, like I'm expecting uh, some some kind of battle to ensue in a few seconds. Um, I don't think that's also like a good reaction. I mean, it's no wonder that people have that I have reaction, or that people had this kind of reaction. But it also shows how, like, I think at least, what impact it has, and how much like the entire political landscape has changed and shifted towards the right. Like each time someone from the center wants to compromise, they compromise towards the right and not towards the left. So the center is moving towards the right, like more and more. Sorry, this was my tangent. Um, when someone like shows their true colors, and most often it would be a point of misogyny, sexism, or racism, or any kind of mix of the above. Is it somehow, and it obviously depends on the person that I would be talking to, but you think that maybe it somehow, through trying to evoke some empathy within that person, like put yourself in the shoes of that person, and how would you feel in that? Or if everything was reversed and
Right.
actually white people were oppressed, how would that make you feel? Maybe somehow
Right.
like that
Uh,
would be an option to
yeah,
even
and
start a conversation.
that is typically, I feel like, when and how people change. And I think that's the exact reason that the right is trying to demonize empathy. And that popular book was out amongst like conservatives, that of the sin of empathy. And I think they're trying really hard to do away with that, because I think it does work for a lot of people, because I mean that's what gives us our humanity. But I think to be able to do the things they're doing, like with ICE, for example, they need to get people to abandon empathy, because if they don't abandon empathy, it's really hard to just not care, or it's like you're fine with supporting things because all of a sudden empathy doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, I think that there are people on the right that definitely recognize that, like what you said, that empathy changes people, and they're trying to get ahead of that. I mean, they've always, like, different movements have always known that, but definitely right now they're making like a bigger push than ever that empathy is bad, empathy is wrong, and God actually doesn't want you to have a lot of empathy. That equals being, I don't know, a libtard or whatever they want to say.
It's like it completely desensitizes people to
Hmm.
me, at least, what makes us inherently human. I mean, empathy helped us evolve to where we are, actually, and
Yeah, exactly.
cooperation
Yeah, it's the reason why the human
between
race
one another.
is what it is. Yeah,
Right.
that's crazy.
And that also
Crazy.
goes like into the no wonder that they are attacking also like education and defunding all kinds of
Right.
levels of education, because uh, like when I read, each time I read something like that, like weaponized nostalgia, or when I read on conspiracy theories, or anti-vaxxers, or anything like that, it each and every time boils down to the fact that it's easier to prevent these things from happening through giving people proper education and the skills to think
Right.
critically.
Hmm.
Each and every fucking time, it boiled down to preparing people to think critically, and to get good information, good education. It prevents a lot of the things. And it was in one of the papers I've read, it was a meta-analysis on beliefs and conspiracy theories, was that well, it's way a person will be more resilient to conspiracy theories when they first got proper knowledge on a given subject, and then were exposed to conspiracy theories, than
Right.
the other way around. So, like,
Yeah.
getting knowledge first and then hearing bullshit
Right.
makes you like immune to the bullshit almost.
Right. And it's frustrating because sometimes I wish they would open their eyes and see like a lot of the leaders on the right who are constantly demonizing education, they went to Ivy League schools and they send their children to Ivy League schools. And even someone like Erica Kirk that talks at Turning Point USA saying like college doesn't matter, or you shouldn't go to college, or you should just start having kids right away, blah, blah, blah. She has a college degree. She went to college, and she's not a stay-at-home mom. She's a CEO of a company now. And so I just wish so many of those people would open their eyes and say, why are they telling me that education isn't anything, that it's so stupid, it's so irrelevant, but yet they went to an Ivy League school? Like why, like what, and like how does that make sense? And then look, they got a college education, and then someone like the vice president is saying education is stupid. It's like, well, he's in a position of power and he went to college, but he's telling you that it won't do anything for you at all, and that you're actually just going to go into debt and like never make anything. And not saying obviously debt is an issue, but yeah, it's really frustrating because the people preaching it don't believe what they're saying, but the people listening to it are eating it up, unfortunately.
Yep, I completely agree. Like people, it's especially painful when I see women talking these, telling other women to like disregard their
Yeah.
careers, their ambitions, anything that
And they always have
can
jobs.
achieve, like for themselves, and sacrifice it on the altar of whatever. And
Yep.
the woman talking about it is literally, like you said, a CEO, has education,
Mm-hmm.
and everything that they say, that they preach, shouldn't matter, but they already have it.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's especially painful to hear that. Um, Taylor, one more question. Like, when you said about something about nostalgia, that you use it like in a completely different way, could you like, what's your view on nostalgia? Do you or what's the
Oh.
positive on nostalgia? Could you like share something?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily like positive or negative, but uh nostalgia is honestly like a pretty big part of my life. Like I don't know. Like one example is like I will play an old video game that I played when I was 13 and it's so much fun for me. Or I will go back and watch a cartoon that I watched when I was younger and it'll be so much fun. So I guess it's more about like media and games and music and stuff like that. I never yearn for like the actual time period because there, there's just not much to yearn for, I don't think. But yeah, that's kind of the way I mean it. I'm not doing a very good job at
Hmm.
describing it, but hopefully you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get that. Totally feel what you're saying. Do you think like it's close to, maybe not close to, but does grief somehow have a role in this? Look, the thing that I'm
Yeah.
struggling with is okay, like nostalgia versus rumination, because I have a tendency to fall into rumination instead of just being nostalgic about something. I ruminate about the past. And
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to grief, which immediately like appears also, I find myself not grieving for the life I had. I'm grieved for the life I didn't have,
Right.
and that's what bothers me. Like, I don't know, something completely outlandish like a happy childhood, or
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah,
Mm,
I do I do think like nostalgia sometimes can like turn into an unhealthy thing, like if you're constantly kind of consumed by that, because also like in our capitalist society, they know that nostalgia sells as well. So like people can make a ton of money off of that and exploit that. But I think that nostalgia can be both positive and negative, and it's interesting because so many different people have so many different feelings when you bring up nostalgia. Like there are times where nostalgia is brought up for me and I will be like crying, but it I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's just like a powerful feeling. And then some people will tell me that they'll cry because they feel incredibly sad or uncomfortable. Like I don't know if anyone in the chat or you, Alyssa, have seen those edits of
Mhm.
like Christmas in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Yes, and a lot of people feel super uncomfortable watching those, and it makes them like sick to their stomach and stuff like that. So it's funny because I just think nostalgia is such a wide range of emotion, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes extremely uncomfortable. And I'm sure, I know grief also many times plays a role in that for a lot of people. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I also think if you're nostalgic for a time that you've never experienced,
Yeah.
you kind of can do the same thing that like you are doing to other people that are talking about nostalgia, where you can ask yourself like, who is this a better time for? Realistically, would I actually have had a good experience in the time that I'm like sort of falsely nostalgic for? Because like even for the people who were kind of at the top of the food chain in, let's say, the 50s, because that's a time that we get a lot of nostalgia, like whatever, pushed at us for, men were not allowed to like be anything aside from this like very specific type of man and very specific type of masculine. Like that, there were issues over time. I would like to think that overall we get better and better, like human beings get
Hmm.
better and better, and we figure out more about how to treat each other. But if you are, sorry, if you're having yourself be nostalgic for these times, it's, everything, it should all exist in the context that was real, which is, yeah,
Right.
maybe if you were to be around in the 50s, you would have had like an easier time getting a house, but there would also be
A
people
lot
of
of messed
color,
up stuff.
yeah, being like literally murdered every day, and like all of these crazy terrible things.
And I think another component is, oh my gosh, I hear this all the time because they'll look at like the 50s and be like, well, see, people actually stayed married back then. People actually worked on relationships back then. And normally I hear men saying that, and I know it's because they don't recognize that people couldn't really get divorced and women couldn't really, like, women didn't have a choice. But it's because people like that are sold this idea that a ma any marriage that is long is good. Like if your marriage is
Mm,
long, if your marriage lasts, that's all that matters. Like that means it's a good marriage. And uh a lot of women when they have the choice, that's not how they typically view it. Like
right.
just because it's a long marriage doesn't mean it's a good one. So they're also nostalgic for things that aren't even true. Like that specifically.
yeah, I've seen it way too many times. Long marriage, or back in the day there were no divorces because
Hmm.
there was no choice.
Right.
That if you have a choice of staying with a guy that, well, does provide some kind of income so that you survive, and not having that, and like I don't know, dying on the street of hunger or homelessness, uh,
Hmm.
that's not really a choice.
Yeah.
It's like a false choice. It's not really a choice. Um,
Right. Yeah.
Choosing a job that you hate and choosing or being homeless and starving, it's not really a choice. You take the job that you absolutely hate, but you need to have some kind of, because that's the world we are apparently living in, you have to have some kind of income to survive. So you have to, like, literally, you have to pay to live. It's like
Yeah.
a subscription that no one signed up for, but we're living in.
Yeah. It's true. That is true.
Crazy.
Yeah. I love talking to you guys. But I don't want to take too much of your time. I just had like one more thing that I would like to say. Two things. One will be somewhat serious, and I would like to, if I may, of course, a small trigger warning for the nearest 2 or 3 minutes, because I would like to address something a caller said last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's about canceling your own subscription on life, so to speak.
Got it. Yeah.
So if I made 2 minutes and trigger warning, so please, anyone who may be triggered, avert your ears. In 3, 2, 1. Because the thing that I wanted to say, as a person who is living for several months with suicide thoughts, and also someone who lost a friend many years ago, also to suicide. It's like you have to, obviously, you feel for the people that person left behind, but also, like, imagine in what pain someone has to be in, that the only hope they see for that pain to stop is when they themselves stop to exist. And when they decided to take that step, it was a step out of, like, the sheer hope of some kind of relief from the constant pain that they are feeling. Or at least that's like how I see it and how I feel it. So if anything, I would never be angry at someone who did that. I would never be like feel any kind of negativity towards them. Obviously, I would feel for the people that are left here, but I would always have that thought that at least he, she, they, whoever are not feeling that pain. And it's an absolutely, on the one hand, tragic thing to do, but on the other hand, it's a kind of relief. And apparently, it was the only relief that they were able to achieve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely people have all sorts of different feelings about it. And I definitely hear all different things that make sense to me. All those emotions, all those different kinds of emotions make sense to me personally. So I get why there's like a wide range.
Yeah. So to give context to anyone who doesn't know what Chris is referring to from last week, we had someone call in who is atheist, who was struggling with a friend who had unalived themselves and was having a hard time sort of like having like closure in that circumstance. And so I get that, Chris, where it's kind of like the one piece of closure that you can give to yourself is that, you know, if they were really in a lot of pain, there is some like level of peace, hopefully, that they are able to find. But was there one last thing you wanted to add before we move into the next caller? I think we have an atheist who is waiting on the line.
Yes. Taylor, did you see there's going to be an update or already released update to Pocopia and the DLC?
Oh, you muted yourself, Taylor.
Oh, I said yes, and I will be addicted to the game once the DLC comes out. I'm super excited.
Yeah, okay, just making sure.
Well, thank you so much for calling, Chris. We always appreciate when you get to chat with us.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate those occasions that we get to chat. I love talking to you guys. Yeah, and I have to get up in 4 hours to go to work.
Oh my God. Go
luck.
to sleep. Oh my
Have
gosh.
a good
Well,
one,
guys.
Chris.
bye, Chris. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one. Bye bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Wow. If I had to wake up in 4 hours.
I used to do that when I was like in my early 20s, and I always look back and I'm like, what? How?
No. I
Yeah,
could never.
Disgusting.
I could never. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I hope that he gets some rest, and we love Chris. Chris is so kind. I'm going to read the shows that we have going on for the rest of this week. Let me see. Okay, so after Chewed Gum, we have Calling It Now. We're going to send you on over to Ari and Jimmy. Oh, I miss Jimmy a lot. That's exciting. Okay, great. So Jimmy will be on Calling It Now in about 40 minutes. Oh my God. The time is, no, never mind. This is in a different time zone in like an hour and a half. Okay, that makes more sense. I was so confused. Whew, okay.
Me too. I was like, what?
I was like, am I in a time warp? What is going on? Okay, I feel more sane now. Okay, and then tomorrow there is going to be the Hang Up at 6 p.m. with Matt. On Thursday at 2 p.m. we have TACIS with Riverboat Jack and Luxander. And then we have Calling It Now at 5 p.m. with Lux and Ari. Then on Saturday, the 18th, we have Devangelicals with Justin Deconstruction Zone and Thinker. Did I call Deconstruction Zone something weird? Was that the one where I said something like completely not
Wait,
right?
why can't
You
I
did
remember
say
it?
Destruction Zone.
Destruction Zone. That's what it was.
Destruction Zone.
Destruction Zone.
I like that better. It's fine.
Sunday, the Sunday show at 1 p.m. with Matt and Seth, and the Sunday show after dark at 7 p.m. with Owen and Eric. Then there is a Calling It Now also on Sunday at 4 p.m. with Jovan and Jimmy. Then we wrap back around to Monday. Skeptalk at 6 p.m. with John Gleason and allegedly Ian, Jimmy Snow, and reading the channel. Calling It Now on Jimmy Snow and the line. On Monday at 2 p.m. with Jovan and Jimmy. And we might have some Line has a podcast things coming up, but I'm not sure where we're at with that. So who knows? That's a TBD. Maybe that's a surprise. Who knows? But we have some other really great stuff happening all of this week, so that'll be fun. And I feel like I'm really giving art teacher right now.
I like it. I'm into it. I think it looks cute.
Thanks.
My art teachers were always the coolest, so
They're always the coolest. And my contacts prescription is not right. So I'm a glasses girl for a couple weeks.
I'm out of contacts, so I always have to put on my glasses when I drive. Like I'm like a little old lady or something. I'm like, wait, let me get my glasses before I hit the road.
Let me get my peepers. All right, let's see. Oh no, did one of our calls drop? Dang, I think our Theus dropped.
Theus, please call in.
Please
Listen.
call in. I wanted to have that chat with you.
Call in. It'll be a good time, believe me.
We're
Maybe
so
if everybody hits the
nice.
like button, that will help us get good calls. OMG, do it all right now.
Oh
Yeah,
my
guys.
gosh. If you're watching this right now and you haven't watched the like or click the like button, do you like us even? That's so rude. Takes 2 seconds and it's free. Click the like button, and you can also share this video and you can send it to your best friend or your mom or your art teacher or whoever you want, your enemy.
Or your favorite theist.
Or your favorite
to them.
theist. And be like, these girls are actually really nice. And maybe they'll also call in. And then we'll be mostly nice.
Yeah, we
And-
promise, mostly.
Mostly nice. And yeah, so make sure that you're liking the stream because it's really, really helpful to us. Thank you so much. Let's see. I'm looking at some of the chat right now because I saw Monkey with typewriter tagged me in it, asking me if I should feel more sane. I don't know. I feel insane right now. I'm very sleep deprived in this moment, you guys. That could be make for a very good. Oh my God. That could make for a very good or a very bad show. Really,
Just rolling the dice. You never
just
know.
really, really rolling the dice.
High risk, high reward situation.
Exactly. We do have one caller in the queue, and we have the rest of our lines open right now. So if you've been wanting to call in and you've had a hard time getting through, today would be a great day to call because we do have some lines open. But in the meantime, we are going to pull in Nathan, who is calling us back from Canada. Hello, Nathan.
Oh, hiya.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Whew. Oh, it was a hot day to be working, but we got through it.
Yeah, I bet. Are you on the East Coast or the West Coast of Canada?
I'm on the West Coast, so we haven't gotten the worst of it yet, but it's supposed to come over here. Mosquito hell, though. We've had way too much rain.
Well,
Oh, okay.
rain can help cool it all down, though, and that's kind of nice. Like, I sort of am looking forward to when the humidity breaks here and the rain comes, and I'm like, okay, well, at least it won't be as disgusting outside.
Oh, there is that, too. I mean, the rain is always nice. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah. So what did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, so I don't want to take too much of your time because I feel I've taken far too much with my previous calls. Nonetheless, the first thing is, like last call, I misspoke saying Tim Walsh, which was me screwing up and creating a unholy love child of Tim Pool and Matt Walsh, which is a terrifying visual.
That's really funny.
I
That
could
is
see
very funny.
see me as saying like Tim Waltz has disgusting ideas. I frankly just don't know enough about him to have an opinion.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice that either. I don't remember that.
That's all right. I think that was a point. We'll get into it. But the second thing as well is there hasn't been a lot of new information that like I've actually needed to change my ideas so far. But there was one that you brought to me in the idea of that like it's a male loneliness epidemic. But like you said, it's even. I checked the data. Yeah, it's even. So I'm curious as to where that came from. We could just say patriarchy for the time being. I think to steelman it a bit, I did do some other research on loneliness and just found there is a higher relation between loneliness and suicidal ideation in men compared to women. But that's still not enough for me to say that's a male loneliness epidemic.
Yeah. Well, I think that part of it is that women are, I think, more socialized to be social. So like, when we are experiencing loneliness, I think we have a little bit more, we have some more tools available to us, even because like things like therapy are more normalized for women than they are for men. Like there's a subset of men that will think that that's not for them, unfortunately. So even things like that type of support is something that women are more likely to reach for. Women are also more likely to talk about their feelings. So when it comes to things like that type of ideation, they might be more encouraged to have those conversations with people that they can rely on to do that with. So, but it is interesting that the rate of loneliness is the same, and we hear it so much about the male loneliness, and I think that that's part of where it ends up being frustrating to like field because it's a problem across the board, but it also is a situation where men don't have the best tools.
Yeah, I mean, I can even see that. I think it also, as well, actually having the male loneliness epidemic, even you said like the expectation that women are more socialized and more capable. How terrible must the woman who is lonely and doesn't seem to have those skills feel about herself?
Yeah,
Um,
I
Right.
know. Yeah. There was also there was a I think it was in the UK they did another like study on male friendships, and it was like 40% of the men that they surveyed didn't have a best friend. Like they were asked to like who's your best friend? And they didn't have one, which is really interesting. And I think that that is also something that's happening as a result of this like with politics becoming more oh my God, what is it called when they separate us more?
Like gender wars
No, like it's
or
divisive. Like it's so
oh,
everything is so charged.
yeah, like polarized? Is that the
Yeah,
word?
polarizing. Yes, exactly, exactly. I think that then we have people who are really focused on their individual needs and less about caring for their communities and
Mhm.
and I think that that also contributes to it. It feels like there are so many like little pieces that contribute to all of it.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean, ultimately, like we're in a patriarchy, so the needs and desires of men are the ones that will ultimately get platformed. It's the same reason why we have like 10 times as much research done for male pattern baldness than we do like endometriosis and PCOS, which are, very painful
hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I
for
will
women.
never disregard like right medical discrimination towards women. That's just abhorrent.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, I think that's kind of what it is. Taylor, do you have any thoughts?
No, I like every time I just think of like the male loneliness epidemic thing, I think of what we were talking about where everybody is experiencing it, and I think it has obviously has to do a lot with how we interact with social media, where people assume that they are getting like their social interactions through social media, but it's not the
Mm,
same. So I think it is we're in a weird spot where a lot of this is new, like how much time people spend online is new. And I think, now there are being like lawsuits filed for mental health and like what social media and certain apps do for your mental health. So we'll get more on that like as time goes, but I definitely think just how we interact with each other, you can in today's world, you can interact a lot less, like just survive by interacting a lot less with people than you did
Hmm.
before. So it makes sense to me that everyone's a lot more lonely than before. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least it kind of can create a place for people who couldn't belong in outside society. So like,
Yep.
there's some give and take in there. It's
Oh,
challenging.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I think you had a great insight there. It's Taylor, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, just name to voice is challenging.
No, it's okay.
That idea, right? I think that's actually a really neat idea. Specifically, you said that people think they're getting their socialization needs through social media, but they're just really not.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
kind of want to actually extrapolate that to like men. Um, just in the context of, I really do feel like there's a certain scenario, and I think like this is just the culture that's really created this. We're just at a point now where like this is it, and it's like definitely want to deal with it, but I feel it needs to be acknowledged first. Is that like male friendships don't really go that deep, and
Right.
they
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
they they, they don't really have those skills, and you can actually build connection and community. So you get all these men who are like, in their perpetual midlife crisis, either chasing the grind,
Right.
alcohol, drugs, whatever, to try and find it. But at the end of the day, it's because they've been socialized away from something that's been proven really to show human well-being, which is deep personal connection and community.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I hope that to see it get better. And I think that it will, honestly, over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you please.
I think that people are having better open conversations about all of it. Like I think like even just having this kind of conversation here, but I think that there are men who are also starting to realize that building friendships and having close community with people and creating that depth is actually like it's essential for human beings. Like we need that. We need it. And there's like a weird, misconception now that having friendships that run that deep means that like you are like a sissy or something. Like it's silly
I
stuff.
feel like you say now, but that's kind of like always been the case for men, right?
Maybe not it's
always,
interesting. So I remember a while ago I had done this video on Instagram about how men used to show affection very, very differently than they do now. Like it was actually, there was a period of time in the US actually, so like, within the past 250 years, that holding hands with men that were your friends was not uncommon. Having sleepovers with men was not uncommon. There was a few presidents, I think it was maybe Roosevelt and Abe Lincoln, who they have all these letters that they were writing to their best friends, and they were like really sweet and like kind of tender, like really like emotional emails letters that they were writing to their best friends who were also men. And there was also not uncommon for I wish I could remember like exactly the dates that all of this was happening, but it was not uncommon for men to do like little photo shoots with their male friends. So in those little photo shoots, like the men would be sitting on each other's laps and holding hands and all this kind of stuff. And so it's interesting because I think when you look back, there is a period of time where men were able to express some level of closeness that is not really available to men right now. And I think a lot of it is like homophobia. I think people are just scared of being called gay.
Absolutely.
And so that's really unfortunate. And
maybe even like purity culture perpetuating over sexualization of relatively innocuous things.
Yeah. Someone in the chat also said Lincoln wrote about him and his male best friend slept in the same bed together and how he like missed it. And that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, like they would sleepover parties. Abe Lincoln was having sleepover parties. So anyways, yeah, there was a period of time where men did have a little bit more closeness, and I hope that over time we can bubble that up to the surface again, so that it doesn't seem so weird. And it's like one of the things we were talking about with the caller before, Chris, about nostalgia and how there's this whole thing that like Make America Great Again is pretty much founded on, which is men used to be men, and people used to work hard, and they used to be this and they used to be that and whatever. And in reality, it's like, yeah, men used to be men. Abe Lincoln was writing letters about how he missed having sleepovers with his best friend. Like,
I mean,
what do you mean?
I wouldn't disagree that men used to be men. Men used to be confident and not insecure and just able to be themselves, kind of.
Right.
Patriarchy was still there, so there were still gender roles, but
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you wanted to add? We have some theists who are waiting in the wings, so we want to see if we can get one of them in today.
Yeah, I mean, the quick thing is, I really feel like it was Alyssa, I believe. You hold strong to, and this is the only thing I've really fully disagreed with you, is just this phrase of like, men need to be irresponsible. Or sorry, men need to be irresponsible. Men are not being responsible. Men need to be responsible. Am I characterizing that correctly?
Well, it's not really that. I think phrasing it that way doesn't feel the same to me. I know it's sort of like, well, if it goes one way, it should go the other. But it's what I mean by that is that I want men to be responsible for the life that they are creating. Meaning, if we're talking about the male loneliness epidemic, but we also know that women are also experiencing loneliness, then you can't live in a place where you are the only victim here. And you can feel sad and you can live in the reality of like, this feels awful, but nothing changes unless you make a change. And that's what I mean by taking responsibility. It's like, okay, then let's go to therapy. Let's see if we can find some community nearby. It's like there's only so long that you can be in the conversation of like this terrible thing is happening before it's like, okay, let's figure out what's the game plan. Like, how can we create community for each other to be able to, support each other. Like, truly, the men that are experiencing this, I don't think that they're super interested in hearing like women talk about their experience. Like, that doesn't feel the same. I think that
I would
men,
agree.
right? Like men creating space for other men to have these conversations, empathize with each other, game plan together. That is going to make like actual change. Like, I remember once, I don't think I said this on the call yet, but if I did, I apologize for being redundant. But I remember once a friend in college said to me that she was told as a kid, which this is like kind of unhealthy advice, but I think it's sort of a good metaphor, that she should be sad for 10 minutes and then move on. And I think about that all the time because I think it's a good way to think about like, absolutely feel your feelings, complete the cycle of stress and emotions that you're feeling. But then after that, like hypothetical 10 minutes, doesn't obviously have to be like literally 10 minutes, but when after that period of time, if you want to feel better, then it's game plan time. And it's like, let's figure out, okay, how do we dig ourselves out?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there are some like emotional problems that like you can't fix. So you have to learn to cope and live with it. And there are some that you can fix. And then I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, yeah. But even for the things that like you can't fix, finding the coping mechanisms that work for you is still you taking responsibility for the cards that you've been dealt, Like, it's like I have ADHD, I can't fix that, but it's my responsibility to be able to like hold down a job and like, be able to like complete tasks that are really, really hard for me because of that. So, my version of that is some of it is figuring out like, my work environment, or maybe it's like having other noise in the background that helps me stay focused, or maybe it's Adderall some days. Like that is like the way that I ultimately have found that I take responsibility in that versus making it like, everybody else's problem that I can't do my laundry in the same day. I can't start and finish my laundry in the same day.
Certainly. Yeah, like this is pretty much the part I never found I disagree, but I don't understand why when I hear men need to take responsibility for patriarchy, it's like that sounds pretty stigmatizing to me.
Mm-hmm. I do. I feel like you're 26. Well, no, it is. I understand why it feels stigmatizing to you. You're like, I'm 26. I didn't fucking do this. I was just born into it. I 100% understand why that doesn't feel good to hear. But even at 26, even at 20,
I feel like I don't. Sorry, I really don't want to cut you off, but I guess just to the point of like, okay, I'm 26. I'm having this conversation with you to try and understand my things. I talk with my parents to make sure they don't engage in certain things. I talk with my friends about how they're engaging in the misogyny of gaming. I'm learning about how to build these communities. I'm doing that. Granted, I'm saying I'm doing it, not necessarily that I've done it or that you can trust me. But genuinely, at what point can men not be like, oh, I was born into this. Me just doing the thing is like good enough. Otherwise, they're like,
but
wrong.
It is. Like, we've had so many calls with you and you've never told me any of the places in which you like are like, when we talk about these conversations of like, let's be responsible, it is what I've said is like community building and having the conversations that you're literally describing. So you are taking responsibility. You are doing it. You are making yourself responsible for some small piece of like where you can make an impact, which is all I'm asking for. Like, all I want is for men to find a way to not sort of like throw their hands up and be like, well, this is the situation, and you know, everyone else has to fix it. But you are not doing that. Like, you are having conversations with the people around you and helping them, you know, be more critical maybe of like the media they consume or the conversations that they're in. That is, you're doing it.
Generally, these people are quite normies and they just brush me off, but
That's okay. You never know what's going to land. Like, truly, you never know. Like, it can take one small thing that like sits in the back of their brain, and the next time that they go to like play a game or they hear a conversation happening, you know, around them, and they're like, you know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that sounds really bad, and that actually is not so good. Like, there's like a rule in marketing that you have to see an item between 7 and 8 times before you purchase it.
yeah, law of
And
mere exposure.
Sorry, what?
Law of mere exposure.
Yeah.
Or the theory of mere exposure, something like that.
Yeah. So, but I think that there's also like an argument for that to be made in things like what you're sharing with the people around you, that, you know, the more that they are hearing this conversation that you're providing to them, the more they'll see it. It's like it's like that game where like if you're on a road trip and you're like, next person who spots a red car wins. I don't know what you win, but then all you see are red cars. It's like it's you're drawing attention to the thing, which could absolutely make immeasurable change for them, because you created a conversation that might not have existed for them before. So don't discount what you're doing, because you are actually like, you are doing the thing.
So I appreciate you saying that, genuinely. And that's pretty rare to come from me. I have a very strong negative filter.
Well, you know, the whole thing is my thought on it has stayed consistent. You shared new information, which is amazing, and I'm glad that you did. I also am glad that you have called, you know, and followed up and like, you know, looked up like, you have no idea how, I mean, I'm sure actually you probably do, but for anyone, how hard it is to be like, you know what, I looked up this thing and actually I kind of changed my perspective on like the whatever, like it's 50-50. Like, that alone speaks volumes to like what you're wanting to do in this whole conversation. And you should feel really good about that. Like, that is, being able to do that is a sign of intelligence. It's a sign of emotional intelligence, and also like literal intelligence as well. Like, you're gonna be fine. You're doing all of the right things, and
if you have if you have more thoughts, you can always call back.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess the only part that like I feel really weird about, and I don't even know if there's something you can necessarily do on this show about it. But it's like, why was the assumption that I was like a misogynist and I didn't know most of everything you've spoken about? Like I understand why that was the assumption, but it's like, if we keep
assumption from
people
who?
And not
us or them or the chat?
Yeah, like, if you were seeing the assumption being made in the comments or in the chat, I would say, you
take
know,
it with a grain of salt. And then also, if you don't feel misogynistic, then I wouldn't worry about that. I know it's easier said than done, but I think you should call back.
In real life, I've been told a misogynist for saying women have shown in studies to have higher EQ.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. But I think that you should hold that thought and call back, because we have to get to some theists, but we do appreciate you calling in.
Okay. I think the only thing that I want to leave on is essentially, like, in my last few calls, I think there was a lot of assuming what I'm thinking, a lot of talking to my thing, and really talking about what my experience is, that again felt very, very grating, very much like, oh, I'm a misogynist, oh, this is how I'm painted. And I don't think maybe you quite acknowledge how much to some extent I get this, and I see other men get this, justified or not.
I feel like I don't understand your question.
Yeah, I Not sure I fully understand, but we do like absolutely have to move on.
Understood.
Call back, Nathan.
Okay.
All right.
Bye,
Have a
Nathan.
good one.
Have a good rest of your night.
Bye.
Next
Okay.
one.
I know people in the chat were getting so restless. So
Yeah.
thank
I
you for
feel
moving us
restless, too.
along. Okay, we actually do have theists who called in, which is exciting. Is there a preference of the two that we have that you would
No,
like
I
to take
think
first?
maybe just whoever was waiting the longest. I don't know.
Okay, I think that's Jeremiah.
I think so.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to pull in Jeremiah, who's calling from Tennessee. I think Tennessee. Yeah. Hi, Jeremiah.
Hey, how are you, Alyssa and Taylor?
Taylor. Good.
We're good. We're good. What did you want to talk about today?
Hey, I was just gonna follow up on our last call. We kind of got to what exactly is it that God could do? How could God set things up that wouldn't be sexist? So I'm like, I don't really understand why you guys think God is sexist just because men and women are different.
I'm trying to remember our last conversation. What did we talk about?
You
Where did we
even
end?
talked to my wife, remember?
Oh my
yep.
God. Yes,
Yep.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's
like-
Jeremiah, the best your favorite caller.
I loved that you actually brought us to your wife. That was awesome.
So you're asking?
No, but we can have like a casual combo, you know?
Yeah.
Because how would you set it up if you were God? Everyone would just be the same sex or like,
Well,
you know?
Well, first of all, if I was God, I don't think I would create anything because if I'm perfect and whole on my own, I don't understand the purpose of creating anything, period. But if I was like, if you're talking about like, oh, like how would you create humans? I know what I wouldn't do to help sexism, and that is like give different sexes different punishments and stuff like that, or act like they should be treated differently from each other, or give them different roles because that doesn't make sense to me. And yeah, that's the only thing I can really think of.
So if you like in your little world that you create, first you're saying you wouldn't create anything, which is interesting.
Right. But why? Why is that interesting?
But so are you? Well, because I mean, I think I actually like life. I think it's pretty cool. I think the world is fairly interesting, and that I think that what.
But it's not about that. Like if you're a god and you're completely whole, why would you create anything else? Like what is the purpose?
Why do you create? We talked about this last time. It's like for the same reason that people have children. Like
no, it's not the same reason. It's not the same reason because God is whole himself. He's perfect.
Being creative is something that's interesting, enjoyable. If you don't feel that way, that's fine.
So he was bored?
I think most people do like creating.
Was he bored?
Then it is kind of funny to think about like God created everything for funsies and then like made flawed people
work.
that he made flawed people in a system where they would be penalized for those flaws. That seems really mean.
Why do you think that's mean versus just nobody existing? Is it Alyssa said that she would have wouldn't create anything?
No, but why did he make
that seems way worse to me. No one ever exists just because you don't see any value to creating anything.
Well, no, my point is that it's funny to like make little creations that you know are imperfect, and the risk of them being imperfect is eternal damnation and fiery hell. But you're like, but I love ya.
And if you're like if you're a perfect god and you like don't need anything for you to be stimulated, like your brain to be stimulated, and you don't get bored, and like everything you are is so good and so awesome and so perfect. I just don't understand why you would need anything else. And it kind of sounds like he just did it just cause he felt like it. And so like you're telling me he like
Oh, I think so.
made all of these
Yeah, I
billions
mean,
of people
so you did
trillions.
that. Why do you do things, or do you don't have kids, right? I mean, why do people
No.
have kids? Why do people create
Jeremiah,
anything?
hold on,
It's pointless,
stop.
right?
Hold on, stop really quick. The big difference is they're not God. Like they're not a being. They're not like a being that has every single good thing and perfect all on their own. That's not what humans are. That's
Well,
what
right,
God
and
is.
neither are you. So why are you saying that it's stupid for God to create everything?
Because he's completely whole on his own and he doesn't need anything else. Humans do.
Well, clearly he decided to create everything, and I'm glad that he
Yeah,
did. I enjoy
I
the
know.
world. I enjoy life. I enjoy creation.
Right. You're oh my gosh, I feel like you're doing the same thing you did last time by avoiding what I'm saying, which is like why would he you're like, "Oh, it's good he created it." That's
The
not
world is
the
cool.
question.
The world is cool, homie. The universe is cool.
That's
Creation
literally
is cool.
that's
I
literally
like
so
it.
irrelevant. That's so irrelevant, but okay.
Do you not you like it? You even like this. You even love this phone call, which is part of creation, right? Some dude just calls up.
That's
about how
again
hype he is
completely
about God.
completely irrelevant to what you asked me, but
Okay, well, so but if you're but your thing is you say God's sexist. How's God going to create anything and have it not be sexist if men and women aren't exactly the same? You would call it sexist no matter
Things
what.
can be, but things can be different without being sexist. Like, for instance,
Well,
women are tasked with carrying life, which is painful and life-threatening, and I don't really understand what like the equivalent of that would be for a man.
what is
even-
the equivalent power that man has? Women have the power to bear life. Does what equivalent power
Yeah, but
does
it's
man
also
have?
but it's also highly dangerous and painful. Like people die for
Right,
the
I
and
don't
some
take
people
that-
choose. Some
I don't-
people choose
I don't
not.
take that
some
as a
people
plus.
choose not to do it. That's fine. But men have no power to create in that
yeah,
way.
but yeah, I
That's
know,
an awesome
but
power that women have that God
I don't
gave
think it's awesome.
exclusively
I
to
hate
them.
it. I got
So
my
that's
tubes removed.
sexist?
What
Give
about
me a
that?
break.
What
but
about
but Jeremiah, you understand that like if he created this whole system, he created like what the design of our bodies are, why would he make
Yeah.
our bodies not actually very well suited for carrying babies and giving birth to them?
Well,
Like
they were. It
that-
was supposed to be less painful, but then we sinned, and God made
and
something
so
We-
God
about
was
that made
like,
it more
fuck
painful.
you
God
guys.
said.
so we sinned, and then now women have painful childbirth. What did men get as in that arrangement?
Well, in that, should we pull up the scripture?
Oh my God. This is
It would be great to read the
this is
scripture. There's a lot about
this is the person who claims that like men work so much harder than women and that's why it's fair. Yeah. Right.
Oh.
Which doesn't make any
The
sense.
bricklayers.
No, it's not.
And
I'm
he
saying, what
literally
equivalent power
works
do
on a
men have
computer
to
for a
creating
living,
life
so
like women
Yeah.
can. Does that
he literally
mean God's
works on a
sexist
computer
against
for a
men?
living just like a bunch of women in the United States. He's not working harder than women, so it doesn't make any sense.
Well, does it make sense to say God's sexist because women were given the power to create life and men have no power to create life?
I don't think that's to me that's not even a positive power. Like I got my tubes removed. I was like, fuck that shit. So it depends on who you ask.
I know you're against life. You wish the world didn't exist. You don't know why it's here. You think it shouldn't have been created. I get it. And you don't want to have children. You hate kids. We get
Wow.
it,
Yeah, I
But that's
hate
just
kids.
your
Fuck them
depression
kids.
talking.
I'm just evil. Fuck them kids.
No, that's just your depression talking.
Oh, please, Jeremiah.
There's no need for like
You-
you
The world
trying to
the
personally.
world's really not so bad.
There's no need to try and personally insult me just because like it makes you feel better. Like that's not winning an argument when you're just saying insults.
You also haven't answered,
You just said
Jeremiah.
that the power
you
to
haven't
create life
answered.
is lame.
You haven't answered my question, which was why, if he had the ability to make. Oh, am I freezing? I'm freezing on my computer, so I don't know if I'm freezing
Oh,
in
I
the call.
am. No, I am too. A little bit.
Oh, Okay. All right. So maybe it's just Zoom being weird. Why make it painful and life-threatening? If he could design how this was going to go, why make it painful and life-threatening?
Apparently it was not going to be as painful. If you read those verses, it says it will now be more painful. So something about the sin made childbirth more painful, and it made it so God was no longer going to provide care for and provision for Adam and Eve. But yeah, I don't know.
Wait,
why would you create free people that can disobey you? The same reason. I mean, I don't want my child to just do
so I'm sorry.
everything that
Like
I say.
so one person sinned, and then birth is life. Two people sinned, so childbirth is life-threatening for every other woman who comes. That's like if your kid, came home after curfew, and then you're like, every single person in our generational chain for the rest of your life will not be able to experience outside. They are grounded. They will not have a play date. Like, that makes no sense. Like, why? What is the reason? And that doesn't sound very loving either. That sounds fucking evil.
When we discussed this last time, I explained to you the Bible says these are the consequences. It's not like a new thing. The new thing is that they are getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and that they're going to have to work the land, and that childbirth will be more painful. So
but he made up all of the rules.
That doesn't seem that messed up to me.
What?
But you're also talking about it like it's just like, well, that's just the way it is.
If I created some people, if I created some beings, right? If I'm trying to put myself in God's shoes, I created this perfect world, and then these people were, defying me and thought that they knew what was better than me, and I wanted them to learn what the real world was like, I would then kick them out and not provide for them. That's kind of
real world
reasonable to me.
But he created all of it. Like, he created this version of the real world, and he didn't have to make it
right. And
painful. He didn't have to make it painful, and he didn't have to. Jeremiah,
the world for us
was I
awesome.
talking when you started talking? We could play this game again. Was I talking when you started talking?
I don't know. Were you? I was just saying that the world was awesome when we were.
I'm actually not that
God.
interested in what you were saying, because I would like for you to, at least once in this entire phone call, answer my question. Were you talking? Did you start talking when I was already talking?
I didn't hear you. So if you tell me that you were,
that means that
were you talking when I started talking?
So that means that you were actually not even listening to what I said, which is not a better answer. And so based on this call, because I have to parent you again, I'm feeling like you and your entire generational bloodline should not be able to call back on the line ever again. And I hope that every day you stub your toe, because that's what God would do. I can't believe I have to teach you how to listen again. We did this already. Oh, now he's doing that thing where people do this when they interrupt, and then they get like reprimanded, and then they go, "Oh, I'm sorry. Were you finished? I just wanted to make sure you were finished." You're 30 years old. You know when a person is talking.
I didn't know if I could talk.
Was I talking when you started talking just now? Was I talking when you started talking just now?
You were talking about the fact that I wasn't talking.
Was I?
So I started talking, and now you're complaining about it again.
Was I talking when you started talking just now? You
were talking about me not talking.
I'm actually really
I was about
confused.
to hang up on him because I'm so annoyed with him. Like, you are the most annoying person in the whole world when you do this. It's so fucking rude. And then you act like I'm being rude. You also will talk over me and then claim that you have no idea that if I was talking or not, which means that you were also just not listening to me, which makes sense because you say the same shit over and over again and you don't answer any of our questions. And we start these conversations really calm and really chill. And then you repeatedly repeatedly interrupt us over and over and over again, and then it stops feeling very chill because it is rude and it is disrespectful to do that. And then you act like a dumbass and you say, oh, sorry. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to interrupt. And you wait like 3 minutes in between the last thing I said and when you do that shit. I've done this show for years. I understand how these calls work. I know that there's a delay. And I also have talked with enough fucking Jeremiahs to know that you are being rude. You don't want to accept that you're being rude, and it annoys the fuck out of me. So, Taylor, if you would like to continue, I don't really want to talk to Jeremiah because I think he's very rude.
I did just have one question, and I guess you don't have to answer it truthfully because nobody's making you. But I genuinely can't tell if you are like just a troll, which either way, like we're getting paid, so it's fine. But I can't tell if you're a troll or you genuinely like cannot interact with any of these arguments, which is like concerning to me. Which one is it?
I actually have addressed every point that you've made. I don't think you guys
haven't
have a single
addressed
point.
literally
you just complain
any of
about
them.
Me talking. That's
You
all
haven't
you do.
honestly answered a single question. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Were you talking? Sorry. Go ahead. I'm
I
so
forgive
sorry,
you.
Jeremiah.
It's no problem. It's really easy
I'm
to
so
accidentally
Jeremiah.
speak over someone.
I'm
It's
so
really,
sorry.
It's really no big.
He can go fuck himself. He is the worst. He's so fucking rude. He acts like a toddler. I'm like so over him. He's so incredibly rude.
I also, for his sake, I hope he's a troll because he.
No, he's an idiot. He's not even a
I-
troll. He's an idiot.
I know, and that's even worse. Like it amazes me like every single like time we've talked about a. Why is my? Are you freezing too? Okay, I think it stopped.
You're a little delayed, but we're both a little delayed. It'll come back.
I try so hard to like make him address something and he just refuses.
Yeah,
like he
will
just
not.
refuses. And he asks me a question and I answer it and he doesn't engage with it. I don't understand like what the point is. He just refuses to engage and he's like, you actually hate kids and you're depressed and it's like, okay, so you just don't want to talk about the conversation.
Like we're gonna go around in circles over and over again. I can't. And then he's so rude. I hate when people do that thing where they continue to interrupt and then they wait forever to like make it dramatic. Like if a toddler was doing that to me, I would literally be like, I'm going to count to 3. And by the time I count to 3, you're going to behave the right way because I know you know how, because you're 30 years old.
Right. Exactly.
It's just he makes me so mad. I was like, it's not worth it because it's going to be the same conversation for 40 minutes.
Circle. Yeah. Always. I don't get it.
Oh my God. Okay, well, anyway, we do have another theist who's waiting. So we can take Chris. But before I do, if you haven't already liked the stream, like the stream. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Please subscribe. And if you like the content that we make here on The Line, you can go to patreon.com/calltheline and you can become a patron and get some cool bonus stuff and also support all of the shows on this channel. And if you would like to send us a super chat of $5 or more, we will read them at the end of the show, which is in about an hour. So we'll have this conversation and then we'll do some super chats. Maybe we'll be able to squeeze in another one. So if you do want to call, we do have lines that are open and we will probably have a little bit of time. So by all means, unless your name is Jeremiah from Tennessee, 30 years old, please call in. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, I'm going to pull in Chris, who is calling from Idaho, I think. Hello, Chris.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, that call was interesting for sure. I know I have a tendency to interrupt you. But yeah, I don't know. I was a little child. He seemed kind of immature. I'm not sure what was happening there.
He is. And it's also, there's a difference between people who are interrupting because they're like passionate about what they're sharing and like, you know, like I interrupt people and I don't mean to. That's different. Like he he will over and over and over interrupt, and then I will ask him, did you start talking when I started talking? And then he's a jerk about it. So it's like so disrespectful through and through, and so like he just makes me so mad. But what are you gonna
Anyway.
do?
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was answering any of the questions, but yeah. So I told you guys I was going to call in again. Remember I don't know if you guys remember our conversation. It was about like reconciling the God of the Old Testament with the New Testament. But I just kind of wanted to switch it up a little bit, and like this week, like, so what would convince you guys? And I know I put God, but of the Christian God. What would convince you that he exists, and like what would it take?
Maybe something testable, or him just like revealing himself to me like in any kind of way that I could. Like the thing is, he created he's created our brains, and he knows exactly what would convince each person, because each person, I mean, typically people are convinced by stuff like proof, but there's different things that convince different people. So I think since he knows each and every person's brain because he created it, he would have to adapt to however he created their brain, like what they're convinced of.
Yeah.
Right. But is it kind of the same for you, Alyssa? Like,
yeah,
like he would know what would convince you. So, because it's like, for me, it's like kind of, going off what the last guy was saying, like life is good, but there's also obviously the bad, right? But we have autonomy in this life and freedoms, I mean, I know that's not always been the case, because of human history, but for the most part, most of us have free autonomy, and we don't have, because I've heard like a lot of atheists say like, oh, like I don't want somebody like hovering over, like who would want some type of deity that's like really interacting with you and not allowing you to make choices and have, you know what I mean?
I have a question. How does him revealing himself to us like change anything about free will?
How does him revealing himself, let me see here, change anything about, well, I'm just saying, like, let me think here.
I'm trying to think of any other situation
because it's like you don't want somebody stepping on your toes and interfering with your life. All of us want some type of freedom and autonomy in life, right?
Wait. Why does him revealing himself equal him like controlling my life? I don't understand that.
Well, because I don't know if I completely agree. I think that I think everybody has some type of, because it says that his word, I'm not sure the exact verse, but it says that his truth is written on everybody's heart. So I think everybody understands there's something more than what they're experiencing in life. There can't just be
that doesn't
we're not
answer
on just a
my
rock
question.
spinning. You know what I mean? Like, there's more to it.
Okay, but that doesn't answer my question. If he revealed himself, what is that taking away from me? No, it doesn't. I asked you.
I just told you he's not going to impose himself and interfere with your autonomy to interact with the world and make choices and do what you want to do.
My question. I'm going to ask it again. How does God revealing himself impact?
Revelation.
Hold on, let me finish the question. How does God revealing himself impact my autonomy? I need you to be clear about that because I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Because I don't think I'm completely understanding your question. So are you saying like, how does him, like you're saying they're two separate things? Like him revealing himself and then your free will, you asked me completely separate.
You
ahead.
asked me what would convince me that God was real, and I was talking about how everybody's convinced by different things. But one of the ways he could is just by revealing himself to me. And you said that he couldn't because that would impact things like autonomy. How?
Well, no, I think it has to do. I think the only way God can reveal himself to you is through personal experience. Like, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, but that's
from,
irrelevant.
and I know that a lot of a lot of you guys don't accept personal experience because it's, you know, like, anybody can basically, you know, make up something. But I think they're a lot more powerful than experiences that.
Okay, but that's completely irrelevant to like what
people.
That's completely irrelevant
is?
to what I'm asking, though. Yes, yes, it's completely irrelevant.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time, and a lot of Christians come from this argument that God can't reveal himself to me because it'll take away my free will or autonomy. I keep on asking you how that is the case, and you will not answer the question.
Well, because there's a certain okay, so I feel like God has revealed himself already to us in the person of Christ.
That doesn't answer my question. That's going off on something different. That's not what I asked.
Okay, so, well, maybe we need to define. So that's what I called in about initially, was like, what would it take to convince you? Like, you want him to appear in your room and say, hello,
Yeah, sure,
I'm Jesus?
sure.
Like,
Let's say,
I'm trying to
let's say, sure. Let's say that's it. That I want him to. Let's say that's what convinces me. Him showing up in my room and saying, "What's up?" Why? What about that takes away my free will or autonomy?
Well, the thing is, I'm trying to think.
Can I actually offer what I think it is? I think that the argument that they're making is perhaps because you're supposed to believe without seeing, you're supposed to believe based on faith alone. And so now if you're believing based on seeing and not based on faith, then you're not believing based on your free will. That's kind of what I'm understanding this to be. But I also I want to also say that I have never and will never understand why he needs me to believe that he's there.
Why faith is important in the first place?
Why can't I just like go about my life and be a good person and be kind and be normal and, you know, try and create a good impact on my community and my people? Why is that not enough? Why do I have to be like kissing the feet of this imaginary thing that won't show himself or herself?
Okay. Well, I mean, the way that you brought it up, there's two things that I would say is, like, when you talk, like, why can't I just go about my life and everything? Because if God is just and he desires us to be in alignment with him, you're dismissing the whole morality thing. So, like, because somebody can walk through this, do what you just suggested, and go through this life and murder a ton of people, and there's no justice.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, why is it that Ted Bundy, who is a serial killer and obviously a horrible, horrible man, if he becomes a Christian right before he dies and he starts worshiping Jesus, you know, the last decade of his life, he is dedicated to God. And he gets into heaven because he is worshiping God. But me, who has not killed anyone, who will do anything I can, anything possible to not create more harm in this earth, so much so that it greatly burdens me and my therapist, I don't get to go because I don't want to worship a thing that I don't believe exists. How does that make sense?
Well, let me ask you this: like, who would you probably like? Let's say that you were a deity. Out of those two people, you and Ted Bundy, who would you be more open to inviting into your kingdom? Somebody that's
the person who made good
humble and on
choices.
their feet and sincerely apologize and say, "Hey, I want to align with you." And then the other person's like, "You know what? I'll just
Chris,
I'll
take a step
live
back
by
for
your
a moment.
logical absolutes."
So would you choose
Okay.
Ted Bundy?
You would rather have. Here's the other thing too. I have no ego about this. I don't. If I were to find out that God was real, there would be some other journeys for me beyond that, but I have no ego around believing or not believing. I don't believe that he exists. Period. End of story. The fact that you are willing to accept a person who abducted women, raped them, and killed them into heaven because he was getting to the finish line and wanted to make sure he was going to make it into the pearly gates over a person like myself who I don't even eat meat because it makes me upset to inflict pain on them. Like, I don't kill spiders because it makes me upset. I don't get to go because I don't want to like appeal to this imaginary person's ego.
Validation is that important to him. That's all he cares about.
This is a perfect, all loving being,
no,
apparently. Unless I appeal to his ego, I'm not allowed in his club. But Ted Bundy is because he did. That is so crazy.
Well, I think it's all like according to the Bible and the Christian belief is that the only way that a person can step into the kingdom of God is if they've genuinely, you understand, like with Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So they're only redeemed by His sacrifice and accepting Him.
Yeah, and we're saying it's ridiculous.
A lot of us.
But why? What is the reason? Why do I need to do that?
Well, I think a lot of us. Because what I think is a lot of us are blind to our sinful nature. Like we don't realize, like we're almost like.
I don't realize I'm as bad as Ted
reality,
Bundy.
No, I'm just saying in this reality we're dumbed down.
But how
negative our sin is.
Every Republican is like a Christian right now, and they are all fucking evil and do evil things every single day that are very, very, very directly hurting people. And they do it in the name of God many times.
We already talked about this. We already talked about this on our last call. Remember, like, there's going to be people that are going to use Christ and His name for manipulation and self-interest.
But if you're telling me that if in the last few, which this is also, by the way, very common that in the last.
Invalidate it?
Sorry, does what invalidate what?
Oh, because what was your point? Because I don't feel like anybody can stand behind something good and pervert it and use it for self-interest and manipulate it to you understand? It doesn't invalidate the truth of whatever that is.
The entire point is if you believe what you're saying you believe, you could do awful things your whole life, and as long as you accept God into your heart, like before you die, then it's all good.
Well, I know, but the person that's doing that is likely to have never experienced God.
What?
But you don't know that. So there's a fallacy called the no true Scotsman, and that's sort of the conversation that we're having.
Repentance in that person, like for me, Ted Bundy did atrocious things and awful things, but if he truly repented and submitted to Christ,
that's what we're saying.
He's a human being. You know what I mean? He still has. Like I'm not gonna.
These rules are arbitrary. Then also if these rules are arbitrary and the hierarchy of these rules is not first be a loving person who does harm to no one. That's not the number one golden rule. The one that supersedes it, based on what you're telling me, is are you worshiping this invisible thing? Do you understand how like that doesn't sound? That's horrible. That's just like bad leadership. That's a bad person. This is the other thing too, is like when we have these conversations, I think I said this too in the first call too. It's
a
like
person that is gracious and gives second chances to people.
Only if they worship him at his feet.
I don't think. I think, so,
only if they worship him. That's crazy. That is
you know what it reminds me of?
But
You know what
like
it
I
reminds
said,
me of,
the
actually?
idea of worship in our perspective is not. It will not. Doesn't apply to God, who always is and always has been.
What?
His ego is his priority over looking at what the journey of an entire person's life is. I'm not okay with that.
Okay, and that's another thing. You're using words like ego. These are human terms that we apply to us because of our sinful nature.
No,
right, he's sounding very human to me.
When we're talking about God,
it's because these are the brains he gave us.
He is different from us.
Then why would he want us to like bow down and give everything we have to him when he didn't even give us brains that can comprehend him? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, you do have. What do you mean? You do have a brain that could comprehend him. If you seek him out,
you just said you were just saying that we're using human language and human thought, and we just can't understand. Like, what does that mean?
Well, because he is the ideal of of all these.
Uh-huh.
All the good traits in our existence. Like he's
okay.
And what about the ideal of all that, and he's perfection. So he is different from us.
Okay, can we understand him?
It's different from us. Yes, because the derivatives of his nature are in our existence. We can.
So
by us,
if he does something,
morality and all that, those are his mind and our reality, and we are basically thinking these thoughts after. That makes sense.
When you said earlier, if let's say Alyssa and Ted Bundy showed up at my house, which one would you let in? Who the fuck is letting in a serial killer to their house? First, if Alyssa hated me and Ted Bundy loved me, I would let in Alyssa. Like, what kind of question is that? Like, that's crazy to me. Because if I would hold on one second.
Extreme.
1 second. I want to say something.
But it's not, because I'm an atheist. That's like the point.
Yeah, and let's say, for example, I was married to someone who did awful things to awful people. And then when I confronted him about it, he's like, well, we should still have a great, amazing relationship because I love you and I validate you. And I would be like, no, I don't care about that. It matters how you treat other people. Why does that not matter to God? Like, why? Like, it matters to me how my loved ones treat other people.
The way you stated that was that there was like a past relationship. So Ted Bundy never had a past relationship with God. He never knew God. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done the things that he did. So
are you telling me that
I can't judge, and I can't say whether or not
Christians
Ted
can't
Bundy
do bad things.
Made a genuine conversion. You know what I mean? I don't know his heart.
Wait, Chris, do you realize it's a cop-out, though, when you tell us that Christians can't commit murder and Christians can't do any, bad thing, or else they're just not real Christian? That's the biggest cop-out on planet Earth.
No.
Wait, do you want to know something?
I think they're still capable of that because we are sinful.
Something? Chris, do you want to know something so crazy? My personal favorite Christian is Hitler, who was baptized as a Christian and used Christian rhetoric all throughout his fuckery.
Okay, well, that's just an example of what we talked about earlier about the politicians using Christ.
But he gets to go to. But he would have priority.
This guy was
getting into heaven over me.
Of satanic, ceremonies in the back. The thing is, you don't know a person's life. Like, they can put on a front that they are a genuine Christian, but they may not be. What's the action showing?
But my actions on a day-to-day basis are more Christian than Adolf Hitler's.
And yet Alyssa would go to hell. And if Hitler believed, he would go to heaven.
Well,
and all of the Jews he killed would also go to hell. What sense does that make? All these Jewish people would go to hell that he
I'm
killed.
not, I'm not
and he's a
sitting
Christian,
here
he gets to go to
defending
heaven.
Huh?
So let's say we know for a fact Hitler is a Christian. He killed all of these Jewish people that don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God. Are they all, answer yes or no, are all of the Jewish people going to hell and Hitler's going to heaven, right?
I can't
Right,
speak
yes,
to that because
yes,
I don't know the
yes.
I don't know the heart of the situation.
I just told you the heart.
God
I
has a
said that.
different-
I just told you the heart. Let's say he
Go ahead.
is a Christian. The hypothetical is he is a Christian. That's how it would work, right? If he was a true
Okay.
Christian, he would go to heaven and all the Jewish people would die and go to hell.
What I'm trying to tell you is his
Yes or no
actions
question. Yes or no
don't-
question. Yes or no question. Say yes or no.
I'm not going to say
This
that
is
because I
actually
need a little
so
bit more
funny.
information. Like, you need to clarify
But-
a couple things for me before I give into your little trap.
So would you structure this in this way, Chris? Like if you were able to make the rules, would you structure it in this same way? Like, does this sound like a flawless system to you? Because the way that you're
The
reacting
more
to
I think
it
about
sounds.
no, not okay. The more I think about it, no. I mean,
So don't you think
eternal
it's weird that?
damnation-
Don't you think it's
Go ahead.
weird that you have better moral judgment than your God? Isn't that weird?
my moral judgment? Okay, everything. Okay, you just said something that caught my attention. You said, "Hey, I act like a Christian more than all these other people, and I'm an atheist." So, do you understand what you're doing? You're taking the derivatives of God's nature, and
I could give a shit about God's nature.
But you're
I'm
not-
talking about being a loving person. I've never killed someone. I'm not coveting a neighbor's wife. I've done
Exactly.
charity many times in my life. My literal job, my career is in service of other people. I am more Christ-like than Adolf Hitler. Absolutely, I could say
Yes.
that without beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's not me using
Okay.
like God attributes. That's just me like being normal. Like I just am like being a normal, well-adjusted person.
Okay. Well, I mean, the only thing that you're missing is being in Christ and having Him
But
be.
that's my
basically
point.
That's the
your
entire
bridge
point.
That's my
into the kingdom of
point.
God.
That's the
That's
entire
my
point.
point.
Why is that? I don't
If
understand
someone-
why that's a problem. That's not a problem.
The
You
problem
can't do it on
is
your own.
the
Like,
problem
I'm
is
okay
if-
being.
The
Go ahead.
problem is, Chris, that if the intention that God has is to, and like the purpose for the rules essentially, is to make sure that this is a loving place for people to, you know, thrive and enjoy their lives, so long as they follow the rules that require them to be loving people, which as a Christian, you know, that's Jesus's whole bag. And I don't really have much beef with Jesus because I think he had some nice things to say. I have some beef, but not as much. But if I were to be making the rules, I would say, like, if I were to be God and like be doing all of this, I would say on my list of priorities, it would be like, don't murder people, be kind, work in service of other people, prioritize community, everyone should be fed.
Don't
and
rape.
then I would, right. And
Yep.
then nowhere
There you
on
go.
the
You just
list,
explained the Christian way.
nowhere on the, right, nowhere on the list would it be that I need people to acknowledge my existence. Like, I play The Sims all the time, and never once have I felt left out because they don't turn around and fucking wave at me. Like, I don't
They don't
care,
break the
'cause
fourth wall.
They don't break the fourth wall ever. Why do we need to break the
Okay,
fourth wall?
well, let me ask you this: if He made you a spiritual being that has eternal, you live eternally, you can go and be with Him, or if you choose not to align with Him, and I mean that's. I know you may not like. You'd be like, "Hey, I didn't consent to this," but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like it's like
That's a thought stopping.
if-
That
but
is a
I'm
thought
not-
stopping statement. It is what it is. It's just
and
thought
it's not
stopping.
that. No, I'm just saying the way that he set it up. I mean, is
It's just the way it is.
Like he's set up. the reality of, you know,
Right, but
the way it is.
you've explained, you've said to me on this call that you wouldn't have structured it this way, which means you have a better, more kind, and more generous
No.
moral compass than your God does. And I think that that is weird.
Okay.
I mean, it's good. I'm happy that you feel
Okay.
that way, but also,
Well, let me ask you this.
it's a
Doesn't there
strange.
have to, okay, let me ask you this. Why do we set up, you know, correctional facilities and all this? Why do we set it up? To
People have-
basically hold people accountable for not, you know,
Yeah, but you don't
adhering to
get
a certain
you don't get out of
order,
jail
right? Law and order.
by like blowing your correctional officer. You get out of jail by being a good person while you're like in the facility. You can maybe get your time cut
Right.
down, and you can maybe like it's based on you being a good
Yeah.
person, not by slobbing the knob of the people who are keeping you in there. That's the
Yeah, and
point.
we would consider that
Well,
something like
okay.
bribery, which we think is immoral.
Right, which we think is immoral.
Okay.
Thank you, Taylor.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, let's kind of change that whole scenario with the Hitler situation and just say he never came to repentance. Wouldn't you want somebody like that to have to kind of own up to like all the lives that he
Yeah.
destroyed? And
Yeah, he's
Of
going
course.
to.
there's some sort of accountability there. I mean, see, that's the
Yeah,
thing is like
he's going to
course.
hell
you
with
want
all of
to
the. He's going to hell
construct the
with all of
things
the
the way that you
atheists
want
and
it
the people
without
who've
any
never heard about
accountability.
God.
No, but of course I want accountability. My problem, and the reason why we're having this whole conversation, is because your God cares less about the accountability than he does about that evil person being like, you, sir, hell of a
You're
paintbrush.
pretty
Like, that
cool.
makes no sense. Like, that's
Well,
crazy.
when you understand that God is merciful and he's just, you can get either side of the coin on that situation.
No.
That's just his.
I don't find
that's
him
his
to be
nature.
very just.
You understand? Huh?
I don't
No.
find him to be very just. I think that it is very
Okay.
silly that every person who does good deeds who is of any other faith aside from Christian doesn't get to experience
And-
an afterlife because they don't, quote, know God. That
And
is
Chris-
ridiculous.
And Chris, if let's say, what if someone can't force themselves to believe in God? Like, no matter how hard you try, you can't believe in God. So, how are you making a choice?
Well, wait a minute. You're saying that the person can't believe in God.
Yeah,
What do you mean by that?
like
Like they just never were
most
exposed
people.
to the truth?
Yeah, most people are atheists because I would say all atheists. They're not convinced God is real. They're not convinced God is real. And for me, I cannot force
Okay.
myself to believe God is real even if I wanted to. So, how am I making a choice if my brain is not convinced God is real?
Well, I mean, like because you're basically saying like I have all these different gods that, but like what is okay? I feel like it. You think about like people's lives and how busy they are nowadays. Like they want simplicity. Okay, nobody wants to like sit here and read texts and learn about all these like different methods of like religious.
Wait, what
you
does
know,
that have to do
routines
with
that you go
anything I
through,
said?
like prayers and stuff like that. I'm trying to get to a point here. It's like
Okay.
the gospel and Christ is as simple as it can be, and God revealed Himself through Jesus Christ. So it's like, I
Okay,
just
so
don't.
you're saying
for
I'm
me-
stupid.
Wait,
What was that?
also,
Are you
Sorry.
saying I'm stupid? Like,
No, I'm not
Chris,
saying. No, I'm
Chris,
not saying you're
regardless,
stupid. No,
regardless.
okay.
Okay, hold
I'm
on
just
one
saying-
second.
no,
One second.
I'm saying the
I
majority of
understand.
people need simplicity. Okay,
Simplicity would
a
be
simple,
it-
straightforward.
hold
Hey,
on.
this is the truth.
Simplicity
Go
would
ahead.
be having actual proof that it's true. Nothing about this is simple. But I want to go back to what I asked. How am I making a choice if I can't force myself to believe God is real? Can you answer that?
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to think about your question here. So you're saying,
It's okay.
how do you repeat it one more time? Go ahead.
How am I making a choice if
Okay.
I cannot control whether or not my brain is convinced God is real?
Like I said, everybody has their own personal journey, and part of that journey is seeking God and asking
Yeah,
Him to
and I did
reveal
that.
Himself to you.
And I did that. You don't think I've
Okay,
ever done that?
Then, so no, Taylor. So I think if you asked that and you were genuine, it may
I
not
was
happen
genuine.
now, but I think God is going to reveal Himself to you some way. I
really
'cause
wanted
I'm not him.
Chris, one second.
I don't know how He's going to do it.
I really wanted to keep believing at one point because I knew I was gonna like turn my life upside down. So I wanted to keep believing, and I begged him to show himself, and he chose not to do that. So I'm confused how I'm making the choice. In fact, I was making the choice to ask him to reveal himself to me so I could keep believing, and he denied me of that. So what sense does that make?
Okay. Well, that kind of goes back to the original question, like what would convince you? Because, okay, maybe your
That's a
standard
different
of
question.
him revealing himself to you is like you. Okay, you already know the answer to that question.
I don't.
You know
I don't
the answer
understand.
to the question. You
I don't
do.
know what you're saying.
You
I
know
don't.
what would convince you?
No, I don't, because
Like
what
what?
what are we even saying? I can't force myself to be convinced of something, Chris. Do you recognize that? Do you understand that I cannot force myself to believe that my skin is the color purple? Does that make sense to you?
Okay. I think,
Right.
to be honest with you, I think you're making this a lot more complicated than it actually needs to be.
No,
Okay.
I'm just asking hard questions. That's all.
Chris, I feel like a lot of the time when people start doing that, where it's like, well, you're making it more complicated, that's because you have this faith that doesn't require you to ask questions. Like, it allows you to just do the thing of like, well, that's what it is.
I'm not just accepting it as face value. I've had experiences where God's revealed Himself to me.
You're allowed to have
I told you
experiences,
guys
but
about it.
You're
Like,
God's favorite. I'm not.
yeah, you're allowed to have
No.
those experiences, and I'm not really interested in invalidating them, but you have to also acknowledge that it is actually quite cruel to have people who have whose entire lives are built out of their faith system, and then for them to start to feel like something doesn't feel right to me and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg for any shred iota of proof. And especially when you're in moments like that, like, you'll kind of take anything. And to just still not provide something. This is why, I'm sure I said this in your first call too. It's like, even if you could prove to me that he's real, you'd then have to have an entirely different task, which is proving to me that this is a good person. Because everything that I have talked about on this call is just how you, Chris, are a more moral being than he is. And I don't even know you, and I'm
just
pretty
told me
sure
all
that
the
that's
things
true.
that God stands for. You basically, you read off all the things that is attributed to God's character.
Being cruel to people
Love
who want to
people.
believe in him.
No.
Oh, in the call.
Love, community, like help the community.
Sure.
Help the needy, the people that are starving. That's all stuff that we can do. Like,
yeah, and
we have the power
I can do
to
that
make that happen.
without.
Doesn't matter if we do it.
I can and do those things without going to church on Sundays or worshiping anyone. Those are values that are important because I'm a humanist, and I believe in those things because they're good for human beings and the earth and the animals and all the things. That's why I do those things.
I know, but you're
not
using
because I think that I will get a big fat prize at the end of it. That's the other thing too that I think is so interesting is like when Christians have these conversations with us and it's like, well, then you're not going to be able to go to heaven. And it's like, is that the reason why you're doing all of these things? Because if it is, then you also are not really a good person. Because I am doing all of those same things, knowing full well that I will not get the prize because I don't believe in this thing. So,
Well, I think there's a difference. Well, kind of what you just talked about, like Christians are trying to work their like. That's kind of a theological thing, but it's like if that goes back to the whole relying on Christ completely to get into heaven, is there's nothing that you can do that can get you in there. It's by His work alone. So, and so that goes back to it's not out of work; it's out of like appreciation. Like you gave me a gift, thank you. You know what I mean? Like so. And, why do you think another reason, like with the afterlife, so many people desire it in the same way, we desire food, water, this is like a longing within our spirit and our heart. So if we have that longing, it's like it has to be fulfilled in a way. You understand? Like there's a longing for that. Where is that coming from?
You just randomly attribute it to God. There's no proof that comes from God. You're just saying it does.
I know, but all of us desire something more ideal and better than where we are now.
Wait, how do you know every single person feels that way?
I'm just because
I never think about an afterlife ever.
Yeah, I never
literally
think about,
don't think about it. It's not a priority to me. Like it does not matter.
And why does it matter what we want?
You're saying so. I know, but you see, you just admitted it. So you do long for it. You would prefer to like live in some, like a
no.
So you're hold on. So you're saying
after, right?
You're saying that because this world is full of suffering and people like don't always want to suffer, that we automatically we all are yearning for heaven. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I didn't say because of the suffering is driving us. I'm just saying that's like
that's what would drive us.
The human heart is to have a longing for like some blissful experience after this, to go on and see,
Wait, why do you believe? Why do you think every person wants that?
Life.
Why do you believe every person wants that? I think you just made that up. I've talked to plenty of people who want nothing after they die. They literally are so happy. There's literally a word for it, which is absurdist, where people see it as a positive thing that when they die, they no longer exist. That's what they want.
Well, that kind of goes back again to what we were talking about, like about people going through life and doing horrible things to people and destroying lives. So they can just go through life, and you understand, like there's laws that are set in how we function throughout this world. It seems to make sense that would carry on into whatever, we don't really know these things exactly what they're going to be like, or but it seems like it would carry on further, if that makes sense. Or not.
No, it doesn't, because I don't think it seems like it carries on. I don't see any proof for that, so I'm not sure why I would just assume that.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any more callers.
We do have one.
Any more questions, but
we do have one that we might be able to quickly take, and we have to get to super chats soon anyway. So if this feels like a good stopping point for you, I'm down to have this be a stopping point since we're getting to the end anyway.
Okay. No, it was a good chat with you guys. I like to have these conversations, and yeah, you guys, I'm sure I'll call again sometime.
Okay. Yeah,
right,
anytime.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Chris. Have a good rest of your night.
Okay. Yep. You
Bye.
too. All right, bye.
it's so interesting to have those conversations with him. I also think that if it wasn't so horrible out of context, I wish that I could. No, I don't wish that I could do anything with it. But the fact that I said out loud that my favorite Christian is Hitler,
Someone's clipping you.
someone's gonna clip that shit. That is so actually. And now that I said it out loud, someone's gonna do it. Please don't,
Again.
because the context is really crucially important. Oh God.
I do feel like maybe he's absorbing some of it though, because I don't know. My thing is, I think most Christians, I'm sure you agree with this. I think most Christians are better than their God. Like they're more moral than their God.
I agree.
And that's why I think they have a hard time. Like some of them have a hard time with this conversation because, like, yeah, you have more empathy and you're more moral than your God. So you can't. So to the Hitler and Jewish people question, you can't just say yes because you have empathy, and you know that would be wrong. So therefore, you have
Right.
more morality than your God.
Exactly. And it's funny because like I find Chris to actually be very nice. And so like he is like actually a really good example of a person who like I think is probably has a better moral compass. So
Yeah.
that's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, apparently we have a lot of super chats, so we should start to get
Okay.
through those because we technically have 10 minutes to do them all. So there is someone who was waiting on hold, and their name is either Tara or Tara. I don't know how you pronounce it. Please call back next week. And we will get to talk to you then. But we should get through our supers because we're gonna send you guys along to it's Ari and who else tonight? Let me check. We're gonna send you off to Jimmy. Duh. Can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, so we're gonna send you along to them very shortly, and we'll try and speed read through these.
Well, this one's for me. I'll go first.
Okay.
$10 from the Atheist Mechanic. Taylor, I finally mastered Chaos Rising this past weekend. I got the last 2 expensive Greninja cards. It's my first set. Well, congratulations. And if you're still in the chat, I want to know if you pulled those or you bought them. Either way, that's really impressive because I'm not sure if I'll ever do that because it seems stressful, but that's cool. I love that set. Thank you for the $10.
$5 from Michael from Oklahoma. Alyssa and Taylor, don't let the Christian nationalists and haters get you down. We know you're good, gracious, and a heck of a lot smarter than the critics. Thank you so much. That's so kind. Oh, I can read this one if it's for me, but
Okay, yeah, go ahead if you.
Okay. $5 from Elliot K. Alyssa, your weekend ordeal made my neurodivergent brain hurt just hearing it. Having worked in customer service, that type of person is the worst. Yes, my neurodivergent brain was not pleased.
£5 for Mystic Mind Analysis. Weaponized nostalgia is so tiresome. Recycling the same expectation biases. Like, can we please make what? Like, can we please make it like a dog salon and give this bitch a rest? I was wondering where that sentence was going. That's funny. I love it.
I love it. $5 from Space Trap 32. Howdy. Do you have any recs for recovering from burnout from a high-paying job? I want to quit and like become a photographer or a hiker. I responded to the chat too, but there's a good book. It's called Burnout, and then there's like another like subtitle of it, and it's by Dr. Emily Nagoski, who's the person who wrote Come As You Are, which is a great book also. So I would check that out.
I would also give advice if I had that figured out, but I do not, unfortunately. $5 from Dusk Frame. Taylor, if you were a Pokemon gym leader, what type would you specialize in? I go out of my way to give ghost type energy in my everyday life. I love that. And I would probably be a water gym leader. Even though it's not about the style, it's about the cuties, the cutie Pokemon. So
$5 from Joshua Everett. Shows what you know. Turns out these girls are only mostly nice, and mostly nice is partly mean.
True. $10 from Edelbits. Simpsons did it. We are merely exchanging long protein strings. If you can think of a simpler way, I'd like to hear it.
That's funny. I love that. Jack Be Quick. That's funny. $5 from Jack Be Quick. Wait, there are people who finish laundry in one day, including putting it away. Putting it away, that's
No, it's a myth.
I'll pay for wash and fold in my like at home in LA, but because I can't I like just but putting it away in the same day? No.
Michelle, $5 from Michelle from Oklahoma. Speaking of unless creation, wait,
I think useless.
useless.
Maybe.
Oh, useless creations. Why did humanity have to create God? Any of them? To me it makes a lot of sense because I think I don't agree with what the last caller said, where like everybody wants like heaven as an afterlife, but I do think people get scared about dying, and obviously we're always wondering about the unknown. So some people want to feel like there's a bigger purpose. So it makes sense to me personally.
Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. Hey, I used to play the piano by ear. Now I use my hands. Hashtag Happy Tuesday. Oh, I missed you. Thank you so much.
$10 from the atheist mechanic Jeremiah. You continue to be a horrid caller. I'd say to do better, but I don't think you're capable. Ditch the Bible. It's serving nobody any good. Also, quit interrupting. If he didn't have us talk to his wife, I legitimately would think he's a troll. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. He's so annoying. $5 from Michael from Oklahoma. Regarding Jeremiah, good call is a good call. I would like it was gonna be a useless conversation anyway.
No,
He's so
I agree
fucking
with you.
annoying. So rude.
$5 from random hero guy. Jeremiah's a troll. I'll pay a troll.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. $5 from Mira Featherbender. Jeremiah belongs to a capitalist blood and death cult obsessed with brainwashing and gaslighting everyone they can to enrich those in power. Exactly.
$5 from SJL. Jeremiah isn't a troll. I feel sorry. I like how one is like, this is a troll. Jeremiah's not a troll. Okay. I feel sorry. I feel sorry for his wife. Captive. His kids are either going to be just like him or not speaking to him by 18. It like what you said, I think last show, it's so interesting that his wife seemed like she could have these kind of conversations. So I'm like, I wonder if she ever listens in on him saying this kind of thing and is like, what are you talking about?
I hope she does. I hope Captive was so funny. $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. Jeremiah is probably very proud of himself right now because this was all he really wanted from the call. Your time is too precious to waste on him. You know what? You're probably right. He just wanted to be like, those people are crazy. They won't even have a conversation, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile.
Yeah. $5 from Stephen E. I wouldn't mind having the most powerful being in the entire universe interfering with my life. I could use the help. Yeah, seriously. They always say it like it's a bad thing. I'm like, well, not if you're starving.
Right. $5 from Michael from Oklahoma. Alyssa's a far better man than Chris. That cracked me the fuck up when I saw it and like pop up in the chat. Thank you so much.
I think I did see that. $5 from Elliot K. Atheist women deal with so much shit and it needs to be recognized more. You deal with both the Christian and secular dude bros. Thank you. I appreciate that, Elliot. Thank you.
Really nice. $5 from William. I never say your last name right. I'm so sorry, William, because you've been here for so long. Mattes? Maddies? I don't know. Someone in the chat correct me again. I'm saying giant meteor 2028. Us meatbags had our chance and we fucked it up. That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
$5 from Stephen E. Hey, it's me, God, just writing to let you know I'm real. Thank you. I believe.
Right. Thanks so much. Imagine that. $10 from the atheist mechanic. Chris, I could never worship or follow a being for being so shallow that they would cast a person to eternal fire and torture for the simple fact of non-belief. That being isn't moral or good. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
$5 from Maria Featherbender. Chris, actions don't matter if you love God. Also, Chris, well, you don't know. You have to judge by actions.
That's hysterical, yes.
A lot of that was, mixed, contradicting.
$10 from Tree Thinking. Christians are lazy and do not want to put in the effort into learning about the world and reality. They do not want to put in any time, effort, or being legitimately honest. I think it's more fear than that. I think they're scared to look under the hood.
And I think indoctrination just plays such a heavy role in that. $10 from Perry Farm. LOL, lower your standards. Believe in my book. It's good, Bill. Chris 2026.
$5 from Michael from Oklahoma regarding Chris. Taylor, you shot and scored. Great point. That will go over Chris's simple mind. It's happening right now.
I wouldn't say it's simple mind. I would say maybe it gives people something to think about. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my bad. $5 from Based Arisha. Hopefully I said that right. Chris says you are making it deeper than it needs to be. Instead, he's stopping himself from thinking deeper because cognitive dissonance is kicking in. Yeah, that's the issue with a lot of that. And it's interesting because that's exactly how people in my life responded when I started asking them deeper questions. They basically were like, don't worry about it. God's got it under control. And I'm like,
right.
I'm gonna need a little more than that.
Right. $5 from Space Barbarian. I appreciate the pregnant pauses when Chris stops to think about your questions, even if his answers don't show much movement. I know. I always wonder when they're doing that, I'm like, wheels are spinning, surely.
Right. And yeah, I mean, also, I don't know, even if he, I guess, doesn't come to a better conclusion, maybe it'll help him have better, I don't know, preparations for other things. Who knows?
Yeah. Was that it? Are we done? Did we do all the super chats?
We did them.
By exactly 9:30 on the freaking dot.
We're so good.
Wow. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. And go to patreon.com/calltheline to become a patron and support this show and all the other ones. Thank you, Lux, for producing, I think, and screening today, as far as I know.
For now and forever.
For now and forever. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. We love you. Thank you to our mods and to all of our existing patrons right now. We love ya. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.